So what's up, Julio? How you keeping?
What's up? Trying to stay safe, quarantine, bro. You know, it's all
You do,
around the world, the same thing, I'm sure.
yeah, are you doing much training at the moment?
Honestly, I do what I can. I do what I can. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna tell you, yeah, I'm freaking at 100% right now. No, it's definitely not the same, when you're training in the dojang with the floors, the correct, tools. Right now, I got my backyard, like a little dummy right there, like a bob, but that's basically it, man. So I do what I can.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Like, in the lack of partners to train with as well.
Dude, it is. But luckily, I mean, I live I live with my brother as well. So luckily, I have a if I had to have a training partner, it would be he's a pretty good one to have right next to you. So it's I'm not alone, but like you said, it's not it's hard. It's hard
Is
to
he?
find the motivation too.
Yeah, is he at home full time as well? Then is he like on lockdown as well, or is it, he's
Yeah,
not working?
man, it's no, we're all on lockdown. Literally, like only a few obviously essential workers, the cops, the ambulance and whatnot, and basically anyone that can work from home, like computer tech or just corporate America type people are going to be still working from home. Everyone else is laid off. We're all just chilling. So if we had to have a podcast, man, this is like the perfect time because we have like all day.
Yeah, like I've got that's why one positive has been I've managed to get a lot of podcasts recorded in this time.
Right, you basically want to do everything. Like, yo, I have so much time. And even then, like I find myself like just being lazy. It's easier to just stay home and just stay in bed, watch TV all day.
Yeah, complete Netflix.
Exactly, right. I got Netflix, Hulu, HBO, fucking Prime. I've I don't
You on that Disney
know.
Plus
I've
buzz?
wasted a lot of money on that, but it's coming in handy now. We got everything. Disney Plus nowadays, right. It just came out. We got
Yeah,
the free 3 month thing or some shit like that.
yeah. What do you think the World Cup is going to happen?
I personally, I honestly don't know, man. I really hope it does. For many reasons, but I, the way things are going, I don't think so. I doubt it.
Yeah,
I would love. I wish they delay it. I hope they delay it, man. They should just push it slightly back. Like, don't cancel it like they did in 2010. Obviously that was a big deal. The what was it? The president of the ITF at the moment passing away and stuff, so they had to like delay the World Cup indefinitely at that. So they basically like skipped the whole 2 years. So hopefully we don't do that for this World Cup. I want to like be able to continue competing and whatnot. So hopefully it works out. I don't know. At this point, it seems like we're not going nowhere though. Like right now, I'm in my backyard and I'm here for another month and a half. I think
yeah. It's a challenge because even like
it's crazy, man. Yeah.
there isn't a lot of time left in 2020 to make it happen, and then like it's a World Championships next year, so you're not going to have a World Cup and a World Championship. So it's kind of it could be.
Right. It's like it's weird. It's weird. It's when is the World Championship though? I have no idea, but
I think it's
I'm
October next
assuming
year.
early, right? Like in April or something like that. Do you know?
I would have
Oh,
thought,
October next year.
but just because like
If
it was fit, like sorry, Germany was an early part of the year, so
early
then
May, right? Or
then
end
it
of April.
tends to be late then. So
Hmm.
October time.
Hey man, so they could probably do that. Like just push the World Cup another month and a half back, and then because I'm sure no one's really purchased any tickets, any flights, so it's not like hopefully if this virus really like just settles and we're able to like do more things freely again. Hopefully we'll be able to still go to the World Cup because I honestly want to go. I don't have many more left, man. We're not 20 no more, 19, 18. I'm getting up there. It's crazy. It's happening so fast, but I want to fight as much as I can, as long as I can.
Hung
You
Hung
know the
went
deal, bro.
Hung went till 40, so you've got
Right.
what over 10 years left.
Uh, I think so. Yeah. I mean, I would like to say, yeah. Fuck, man, 10 years. But nowadays, man, I'm throwing a kick. I try to like not even without even throwing the kick. Before I throw it, I have like this feeling like that I didn't have when I was 18. I'm like, careful, man. You might pull something. Like that's not
Yeah,
a good sign. Where you just like having to second guess like throwing a kick. That wasn't like that when we were kids. When you were kids, you like it could be 3 a.m., 7 a.m. You throw a full on reverse hook kick and you're super good. You know, like you're like I'll throw five more. Now it's like, ugh. So I don't know, man. I want to say 10, but maybe 7, 8.
yeah. I was kind of the last like 12 months, I think. Like before, like that you said, when I was 18, 19, I could rock into a session, no warm up, not like just go. Now I'm kind of starting to feel
Easy, yeah.
I really like I can get it right. It's kind of it's always a risk because I could turn up and I could not warm up and I might be fine. I might get away with it, but there's always that chance that today's going to be the day that I won't get away with it and I could get hurt. So I was like, no, I need to make sure every day.
Exactly, exactly. It's like, yeah, you're trying to like avoid something like you. It's not that I know that if I throw the kick at that exact moment, it's gonna pull or something like that. It's just that feeling in the back of your head is like what's scaring me. Like shit, man. And so in 10 years, I'm not even gonna attempt to throw it. So because my brain is gonna be thinking this way, you know. Like I hope it doesn't go that way. It's, but it seems that like shit. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It can easily go that way. I see that like with everyone. You know,
Have
if
you had,
you let life just take you on like a just that path, you can just get lost easily and just become somebody else. It's pretty funny. It's crazy how life is actually.
but would you have suffered with many injuries like throughout the years?
Luckily, no. Actually, no, not really, man. I've seen a lot of my teammates go through them at young ages too, which is really weird, you know, for me to see. But luckily, I've been pretty good. I've been pretty good now. Now that I'm getting a little older, I want to say I'm still, you know, we're still young, 28. So you know, I could still say I'm like mad young, right? But lately I've been getting like groin, like my left leg, which is like my good leg, my dominant strong leg. I've been getting a lot of issues in my groin, you know. And I believe that's because of like lack of stretching, lack of like mobility and all that stuff, you know. So I feel like I have to improve in that sense, because if not, I know for a fact I'm gonna ruin my left leg completely, you know. So yeah,
Yeah.
luckily I've been good though so far, you know. Here and then, you know, like a little like bruised knuckle or like something that might feel like a broken or fractured finger, but you know, nothing too serious, nothing where I've been in a cast, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting you say like that. You're still like you are still relatively young. Like if people are like 28, like you might think you're just hitting into your prime of competition, but a lot of times people forget as though like you could have 10, 12, 14 years of high level competition behind you, even still only
E-
being 28.
Exactly, exactly. It just depends. Yeah, it depends how you take care of yourself. I think like I'm realizing that now, you know. As we get older, we realize like shit, man. There's an easier way to things, you know. Like you can easily like have longevity and just in life in general if you just follow these so and so steps, you know. We just choose not to follow them because it's easier and whatever. But yeah, man, that's what we have to do. That's what I want to like thrive for. Because if not, like I could see myself being done in 5 years, you know. Like it's funny. It's a funny thing because like when you could see a 48-year-old that's in better shape than an 18-year-old or a 25-year-old. You know, it just depends on how they manage, like, I guess, with time, right? What
Yeah.
do you think about that? Yeah, right. It's like
Yeah.
it's just by his life choices.
That's it. It's like it's how I think it's like it's how important is it to you to stay in shape.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, yeah. It's like how bad do you want it? Or in reality, it's like everyone picks their poison, chooses their poison, and like we're all in this together. We're all just trying to like what is life, you know? So we're all just choosing what we want to be good at, and that's like the difference in how well you do in your specific area, you know. Like how, like if you dedicate time, if you're disciplined and whatever it is, if you want to be a perfect painter, you know, like an amazing painter, you have to dedicate time, you know. A musician time, martial artist time, taekwondo champ time, you know, all that stuff. All it is time, you know. So it's it's really crazy as you see that, there's not many shortcuts in that sense. You have to train. And just so you know, bro, you have to remind me. Sometimes I get lost. I just like I'm like talking over here, but then I'm like, wait a minute, what were we talking about again? So just bring me back, man.
Oh,
If I go too far.
but it's actually how did you get into taekwondo and martial arts? How did you get started? Why did you start?
I started at five. Five. Like I had just turned 5 years old. It just happened, honestly. My dad owned a restaurant in Queens, and we were always there. Like honestly, like basically living like from we would go to school and immediately like go to his restaurant and stay there for 5 hours. Probably eat all his food. Like like his food cost was way up, so he decided to just like put us in an extracurricular activity. To keep us busy and to keep us out of his hair and stuff. So we happen to have a taekwondo school three three like stores down or three schools down. And it was a Queens Taekwondo Center. I don't know if you know Master Suarez. This guy's like my second father, man. He's thankfully grown within the Taekwondo ITF. But I started with him, and I've never left. So the rest is history, man. Once I got in there, actually no, it's not history, because once I got in there, I was like the worst student. I'll tell you that. Like I was not motivated or interested in Taekwondo at all. I don't know whether it was because I just didn't feel comfortable with the people, or I don't know what it was. At that moment, I just know whenever I would go in there, I would be like, I would have a terrible time. I would cry and whatnot. But then again, you're 5, so you don't really know what you really want. But I don't. After a couple of years, I think that's when I really got okay. I decided, all right, I want to continue in this, But before that, I was just like any other kid, just going because we had to.
Yeah, did you start competing then straight away, or was there a bit of time at the start before you kind of got into competing?
Um, Honestly, I have a terrible memory, man. So I'm gonna tell you that right now. So I can't really remember much about like like when I was 5 or 6. What I can say is I remember I do recall seeing a picture like as a yellow stripe, or I think yellow belt, competing at my like the local New York tournament. So it must have been like at 7 or 6, maybe even 6. Like that might have been my first tournament. But like I said, I was like, so in training, I was like bad. I would like be very like emotional, crying, scream, being pissed off the whole time. In competition, I was worse, man. You do not want to be my coach or anything like that. It was a guarantee like show, like a shit show. Like, I was gonna cry. I'm like, no, I don't want to fight this guy. Please don't make me fight him. It was like a whole show, and like my coach knew, like, because at the end of the day, I was still okay. I was still pretty good, so he kind of knew I was gonna win. It was kind of funny. I was a funny kid growing up. But yeah, that's when I first started competing when I was a kid. But the international really came. That's when things changed. You know that yourself.
Mhm.
Local tournaments, you can you can be the top dog in your local tournament, but go to an international event, or a European championship or a Pan American, you'll get your lights checked, really. Like you'll be like, oh shit, so this is really what's out there, not that national stuff. Speaking, at least in America, in the US, it's quite easy to to make it in the national level. I don't know how it is in Ireland. You guys are fucking, you guys are good. That's what can I say?
Yeah, yeah, we're kind of we see it. The junior spots tend to have a good lot of competition, but the seniors often can pick themselves. You end up with one or two
They
people.
drift off, right?
Yeah, just life takes over, and
Got
there's
you.
not as much competition. But
Life, right? Yeah, life.
yeah, junior definitely. Yeah, there's a lot of competition at junior, so which is it's kind of what it's kind of what you need. It's what has helped us grow quite a bit in terms of
So
successes.
quickly, right? Yeah. Why do you think is that because of your coach, or like why is it because of like the organization behind the Irish Taekwondo? Like, is that because they like invested in marketing or like advertising?
I think it's just I think it's a mix of a couple of things. I think we have some really good in coaches, like all our national team coaches, like are all savage top level coaches running very good
Were
club. And then I
were they
think,
all competitors? Quick,
yeah, they would have all been
do you think
competitive.
that's maybe my? Yeah, I feel like we lack that here, at least in America. Um, Not to step on anyone's toes or anything like that, like, but I feel like we lack that new generation. You know, the like, you need the touch. You need you need the people that have competed already. You know, they have some sort of knowledge that maybe the older generation already lost, or the knowledge that they had from previous times is not working anymore. You know, like, so you kind of need like the new generation to step in. I don't know. Maybe that's why you guys also grew so, or blew up so fast. You know, because the new generation understood, and you guys they took over quickly. You know, still in America, we still have a ways to go to maybe be able to have like I said, the new generation have a foot in the door to be able to say something. Hey, listen, maybe we can improve in this area, or maybe this is what we can do to improve or to better the whole country, and you know, all in all. Because honestly, our training in Queens Taekwondo Center is pretty good. I don't like to, you know, I don't like to talk like too much, or like boast or anything like that. But our training is top level, I believe. You know, thankfully, because of our coach and whatnot. You know, Master Perlaza. This guy is like if you've never met him, I would recommend meeting him and training with him. Like, this guy is, once you meet it, if you meet him, you would never ever assume this guy is the way he is. But he's a machine. I think, I don't know if he's gonna get mad if I say his age, but he's up there. He's like 57, if not a little more. But he's fitter than most 20-year-olds, man. But his training is like no other, and I feel like that's what has our school at a high level. Maybe the U.S. as a whole needs like help with it, like from Willie, or I don't know. We just gotta find other things to like have to help the country as a whole. I believe
I
we want
think,
to get to where you guys are at.
yeah, but I think one of the benefits that we have as well, and I think it's probably one of the problems in the US, is how big the country is. Like, we're quite small, so we have like, you know, squad sessions before tournaments, so we can, because we can drive anywhere in the country pretty much in like 3 hours, so we can get everybody together in, you know, every so often, like pretty much every
That's
2
true.
weeks, and we all train together, so you get all the best people all training together, and I think then that brings everybody on, because, you know, like, success breeds success, and iron sharpens iron.
You're
That,
exactly right. That's fucking true. Yeah, our the country is so large. Like, it's like, how are you gonna be? You can only probably meet up once per year, if anything. And you know, and being that the everything is out of your own pocket, that's like an expense where most people will never take. You know, like, it's crazy. You're right. America is large, but then again, look what's happening now with this quarantine, the coronavirus. Like, now people are taking online classes. Like, all this live stuff is might be the new way of things. And I mean, so maybe we could improve maybe that way too, like live classes, or live, yeah, team trainings. I don't know. Could be.
be something to it, yeah. But I think
What do you think
even
about that?
the instructors as well. I think maybe like there was a time, like you said, maybe an older generation didn't really maybe care about competition. But I think like the people, you know, that we would have had, no, like you said, they would have been competitors. They have a buzz for competing. They get a kick out of competing. So I think then there's that, like, if maybe they're not getting that buzz from being a competitor, is they're looking for it through coaching.
Right,
So
right.
step in there, and then they're trying to push the people. Whereas maybe before that, and other people, if they, like you say, if they don't have any interest in competition, even when they were younger, they probably won't have it suddenly get it as they.
They wouldn't understand it, right? They don't. They wouldn't understand. Like, it's not to talk badly about anybody. It's just, it is what it is. You know, if you've never really been involved in it, like, how can you understand it? Like, it's okay. You know, just let it be though.
Yeah.
You know.
When did you first make the US national team?
Um. Well, it was weird. It was weird. In 2000, what was it? 2000 and what? 2006. Yeah, 2006 was my first world championship in Honduras, the junior world championship. I could say, I guess I made that team there was literally no qualification for that team. It was just, you want to go? All right, you're in. You want to go? What weight are you in? You're good. You know, it was that. Like, no one really wanted to go. There was no team. It was just a couple of our like individual group, like from the East Coast, I guess, that decided to go. So that was the first time I competed. It didn't really go well, but you know, usually never does in the first time. You know, like it's like it's an eye-opening experience. I feel like everyone should have it. You know, if you like the sport, if you like competing nationally, dude, go international, go to the world championship, even just to watch. I wouldn't recommend just going to watch because I personally would kill myself if I go all the way over there and not compete. I'd be like, but that's me personally, you know. But I recommend just watching. You get like you level up. I know I leveled up after that, even though I lost.
100%. Every like it's something that just keeps cropping up. Like everybody I have on the podcast, they kind of they're saying the same thing of like, yeah, the first one was an experience. It was an eye opener. That they didn't really realize, like you said, it's you're kind of used to seeing national level tournaments, and then you go to this level of international, and you see the best people fight, and the style they have, and just the level that you have to get to.
Yup.
And it's just you kind of go like it either makes or breaks. Like you're either going to go, all right, I'm going to go.
Yeah, it's It could be overwhelming in a bad way. It could be that. It could be like, yo, maybe I'm not who I think I am. You know, like, but you know, then it just filters out the people that want it bad enough, and they don't. You know, that's all it is.
Yeah, it's even
And
funny like,
yeah,
like about people going to watch, because this has cropped up a couple of times as well. Is and if you listen to like when Ryan was on, he went to the European Championships in 2010, and he just went to watch because Adam was on the team and Adam was fighting, so he went with his dad to watch, and
ooh, okay.
and so like he got to see it, and then he came then the next year, his first European Championships the next year, and he won it because like that he had that kind of experience, he had seen it, he'd felt the
He
buzz.
got like a little cheat sheet, like a little glance at like, all right. I got a year or two to train for this.
Yeah, and
I
like
mean,
that.
yeah, it is that. It's that. What was that?
He had Adam as well. Then, like Adam was going to the train, he had the experience. He had Adam's experience as well of stepping in the ring, so he got to see it firsthand, and he was also getting this maybe secondhand kind of feeling coming in from
Exactly.
experience.
Yeah, for sure. And sometimes it's even better when you're on the outside and more overwhelming and more stressful. Like I could say that, like talking about brothers. I mean, my brother, he, when we were growing up, he was the top dog. You know, he was the guy who was fighting all the best fighters in America, you know, in the Caribbean, whatever, like South America. He was the one that everyone was afraid of or like worried about or just everyone looked up to, including myself, you know. So that was like, that's kind of cool when you have somebody next to you that's up there. And I feel like because of that is, you know, being right there with him or trying to maintain is the reason why um, I'm I'm where I'm at right now. And I could probably say that Ryan is where he's at right now because of his brother, you know, like it's kind of like that. You kind of get a glance, like a head start. You're like, oh, that's what he's doing. Let me try it too. And then you kind of slowly, like, you know, reach where he's at. You know?
You've got that mini competition every day.
Yeah, exactly. Give me 1 second. Hold on. It's exactly that. It's exactly that. While most people just compete like for an hour per day, an hour and a half per day, we're competing 24 hours. No, a little. We're normally sleeping like 9 or 8, right? You're competing like 20 hours per day or something like that, a little less, but it definitely pushes you to better yourself. Even outside of Taekwondo, like my brother and I, we were always the athletic type. You know, this guy played basketball, so we played soccer, we played handball, we played all these sports, and that also improves helps with like with Taekwondo as well. Like, you know, if you're listening and you wanna like you don't know what to do, or you might think sticking to one thing is the way to go. I personally don't think that. I feel like it can only be beneficial if you try other things, right? Like I mean, did you play sports also or
Yeah. Okay. I would have played, I suppose, soccer. And I played
soccer? Nice.
yeah, like in Gaelic games. So have you heard of hurling?
Oh, I've heard of hurling. Yes, I've heard
Yeah.
of it. I can't. How the heck is it like soccer? Is it the one where the
It's a
No.
YouTube it. It's something.
Alright.
But yeah, I played that till I was about, I think it was 16, and then I kind of looked at it and went, well, if I want to be world champion or European champion in Taekwondo, then that needs to get all my focus. So that's kind of when I just went. Then around 15 or 16, I went full time into Taekwondo.
Taekwondo, yeah, it's just like, yeah, it's like a life choice, man. It's slightly unfortunate that we chose the sport that doesn't generate much revenue, you know, like money for you as an athlete. You know,
Yeah,
imagine if we dedicated as much time or we were good enough to be in the NBA, man, our lives would be totally different. And it's just it's funny how that works, you know. We probably dedicate as much time as they did. I don't want to say more now. We probably just dedicated as much time as they did, you know, and they're living a totally different life. If we were, you know, like it's crazy. It's crazy. It's just it's what the people want, though. That's
definitely.
what it comes down to.
Nobody would say no to that NBA money.
Right, right. And I don't want to. I would never know, man. Dude, I'd be talking to you in my pool right now. I'd be back here just chilling.
uh, so like then, would you always been like more sparring than patterns, like coming through?
Definitely, definitely. I've always been sparring first. Patterns is just I hate to say it, but yeah, because Master Suarez, the way he trains or the way he runs his school, it's basically that you can't be one or the other. You have to be both. You have to be good. You have to be good in patterns, and it kind of makes sense now. You know, it makes sense that you know they complement each other very well. But I've always had a knack for sparring. Patterns just, I guess why not? I'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was. When you got to fourth degree, did that kind of uh, prompt you to stop competing at Worlds and European or yeah World Championships and Pan Ams and patterns?
For sure, man. For sure, yeah, man. That moo is gives me nightmares. You know, you can't sleep. You can't sleep thinking of that that pattern and bad luck with it's bad luck with you know in for me personally I've always struggled with that like you know juche mumu all that flexibility all that stuff it's terrible I'm the worst at that. I know you're good, man. I've seen your leg go up, man. It's ridiculous. I don't know how you do it. Crazy. But
I'm not.
I'm not that type of guy, man.
I'm not bad at patterns, but I've since kind of taken a step back because I was looking at like when I got the fourth degree, and it's am I going to put in the
It's
effort
tight. It's tight.
to beat Lillian? It's like I'm probably not going to put in that effort because that would take away from my sparring training, and so I'm going to put that time into sparring. So kind of take a break from patterns for a little bit.
Exactly. I agree. Yeah, it's just choices, right? It's just choices. Lillian might you know like training as hard as it's kind of funny like how they how life works. How are you? I wouldn't even know how you dedicate full time to training patterns. That's just like I wouldn't even understand that, to be honest. You know, but it's just choices. It's just decisions. I'm sure that it would be the other vice versa. Also, somebody who does patterns wouldn't even understand how life taekwondo would work if they're doing strictly sparring. You know, no pattern. It's funny. I find it funny, but yeah, like fourth degree is no joke. I did well in third degree. I luckily I tested early when I was like 16 or 15. I think it was like yeah 16, which was pretty young for third degree. So I started, you know, all the world championships. I competed in third degree, and dude, it's nothing. No, there's no comparison. Competing in the third degree level and the fourth degree, it's just like it's white and black. You know, I mean, it's just totally. It's another ball game. I did well. I did well in third degree, and I feel like that's why I stayed there for so long. I was there for maybe about 10 years in third degree. I didn't want to grade and what you know. I think it was just that. It's like I'm good where I'm at. I see the fourth degree, and it's like, nah, no, thank you. But now
Yeah,
we have to do it. Now, dude. Now I think it's it's a plus. You know, it's I think of it as that. You know, when you're going to the world championship, normally patterns is the day before. You know, so I feel like it's a cool way to like loosen up, to feel out the floor. You know, the tatami. feel out just like what it really feels like to be inside the ring. You know, just like this weird energy you get. You
Yeah.
like shake off all the bad stuff, you know?
I used to think that, and then I kind of, the last couple of times of not doing patterns, I kind of feel like it was starting to get to the point where I was like, the patterns were getting in the way of recovering from that weight cut. You know, you're having to go and warm up. It's like, I just prefer to rest, sit in the stand and just rest, because, you know, the weight cut, like for me anyway, it takes a bit out of me. So, yeah, the not doing the patterns actually gives me that extra day to kind of eat and drink. And
Right. I yeah, shake things off, right? I agree. It could only it could only do well, I think, personally. Unless like you fuck it up completely. Then if you mess it up completely, you're probably gonna like be like, shit, why'd I do that? You know. That happens to anybody. It's happened to me before. Completely mess up a whole pattern. It's kind of embarrassing, especially when people are watching, but whatever. You get over it.
so like,
That's probably the biggest fear for everyone. People
yeah,
watching.
how did Argentina then, was that the first time you had some success then at an international level?
No, actually in 2007. So the year following Honduras, where I lost in the second round, we went to Canada. It was normally the World Championships 2 years in between, right? There's 2 years in between each one. But this one was back to back because they decided to finally combine senior and junior divisions together. So that was the first time. So in 2007, I surprisingly did well. I didn't expect it. At that time, I was no one. I mean, again, it was different. It was a different time. My brother was, and and obviously other people within the Americas. But I was definitely, there was no shot. Like I remember hearing friends talk about me like, you're gonna be lucky to make it past the first. Like your brother. Your brother's gonna he's gonna like make it really far and whatnot. So it was a surprising time. Moment when I made it to the finals. I did not expect to make it to the finals. So I unfortunately lost in the third round because we got a tie. But yeah, I that was the most. I guess that was the first time I really felt that success at that high level. I got the silver, and then 2009 is where I feel like that loss next level. Right now, I could think and say like, hey, maybe I'm a little grateful that I didn't win that. Because life might have been totally different. My Taekwondo career at least.
Do you remember who you fought?
Yeah. Sorry for this. My boy from England. He was nice. He was 2 years. I think he was 2 years older than me at that time. He was the top dog. You know how when you're 18, you're fighting juniors. It's like most of the time it's a piece of cake and whatnot. You're just like, it's another game. I'm like way stronger than you, dude. Like that's what you feel when you're at that and you're fighting a 15-year-old when you're 18. It's funny. So I feel like it was a tough fight. Definitely, it was. I actually see the video almost every day. It's outside of Master Suarez's school. He has the promo or I guess they decided to make a compilation of the best fights in recorded within the World Championship, and mine and Soifer's happened to be one of the selected fights where everyone was excited and whatnot. Like, but yeah, so I see it every day, man. I'm just like shit, and I see them raising his hand every day. So I do not forget his name or face, man. He's a cool guy though. He actually stopped competing after that. I'm not sure why, but I definitely was training for for the revenge in 2009. So when I saw that he wasn't there, I was like, oh, he's cake. But then again, I was where he was 2 years later. I
That's what
was the
you're saying,
18-year-old fighting 15-year-old. What was that? I
yeah. You,
couldn't hear that.
like you said, yeah, you got that reverse then.
Exactly right. Yeah,
You were
exactly.
able to go.
And I understood where he was sitting, and that's a way better, way more comfortable seat. So yeah, after 2009, that's where things really opened up for me. I was like, whoa, hold on, I won this. And I don't like to talk smack to talk crap, man, but it was pretty it was pretty smooth sailing throughout the whole fight, throughout the whole tournament. Even the final. The final was against some Polish kid. I don't remember his name because Polish people and their last names, it's like super long. So I can't remember his name. I just know he was like probably 7 feet tall. But dude, the whole fight, I still remember I was moving around, running around, but something inside me already knew that I was like gonna go through it. I was gonna finish it. It's funny how that works. But after 2009, that's where I really that's where things became real.
Do you think there was going to be
It became.
Did you think there was going to be a harder transition then going to senior? Because obviously New Zealand was the next Worlds, and you won for your first
I
senior.
did.
Do you think there'd be a harder like? Did you expect to win your first senior Worlds?
I definitely did, man. I definitely did, and I always talk about that. Whenever I get the chance, because not because it's like cool. I could say, oh yeah, I won from junior to senior. No, it's just because the story about it is it's really crazy, and I feel like that's probably the only reason I won it again. So like kind of nonchalantly. It was smooth sailing all the way through. There was no moment in time where it was like, oh, you might lose this. It was. And like I was talking to Richie the other day. I had a talk with him. It was awesome. It was super cool, and we were talking about this. We were like, New Zealand, how did that happen? And it's funny. It's so how it works in the World Championship. Around 1 p.m. wherever you are, they normally stop, or a little before 12 p.m. There's always like a lunch break. So when that lunch break happened, there was like an hour break apparently, but I basically, either it was myself or somebody else. I like to blame myself just because it's easier like that, but I basically misread the schedule. So instead of saying that we had to be back by in 1 hour, I said we have to be back in 2 hours. So what we did as a team entirely is we literally walked probably like a mile away from the arena, walked into like McDonald's, just had like a bite. Everyone was hanging out because they knew it was like 2 hours away, not one. It was, and everyone else was relatively like way like they had time before they had to compete. There was only two of us that were kind of tight on schedule, and we knew that we had to be back like you had to be back by 2, like by 2 if you were supposed to be in the ring, and I knew that. So, but something inside me kind of like was telling me, I don't know, Julio, you should just be there. Just be there a little early. Just be there a little earlier, just so you can like move around. Just don't like move ahead. So that's exactly what I did. I went ahead of the team. Everyone was just hanging out. I still remember this. We were all watching a street performer. There was like this clown dude. He was doing some cool stuff in the middle of the street, and everyone stopped to watch him. And something just inside me made me like, no, just keep on going. Just walk. And that feeling was like literally correct. Like the gut feeling was right on, because a block before getting to the arena, I see Master Morris coming at me saying, Julio, you and Stephanie Suarez have to be competing right now. They're calling you in your ring. You're supposed to be dressed in your stuff. And we were not dressed. Obviously, we were like in our sweats and stuff, chilling. They're back there. He tells me that. Once I hear that, I'm like, my heart stops. I'll never forget this. My heart stopped. I was like, what? Dude, I start running a block away, taking off my clothes, pushing people out of the way, just like, yo, get out. I'm just, I didn't care for nothing. And somehow, some way, like I don't remember, I don't know how the hell I pulled it off, because they were calling us. You know how it is, 3 minutes or whatever it is, and it's done. Like, I don't care if you're the president, the Pope. The ITF is they're pretty firm with that. I think it's kind of stupid, but whatever. That's not neither here nor there. But that, how it is. They're cutthroat with it. So my feeling was like, I went all the way to New Zealand, spent like $3,000, and I'm not gonna be able to fight. Like, I'm not gonna like lose because someone beat me. I'm gonna lose because I didn't make it. So, dude, it was crazy. So I feel like, luckily I made it. Believe it or not, I made it. And the funniest thing is I made it good on time. I was in the ring, and then they're like, all right, present your ID. And then I was like, shit, my ID. I completely forgot about the ID, so I was a whole nother mess. point is, some way or the other, I made it through, and I still remember saying, like, if I make this, if I make it through, if I don't get disqualified, there's no way in hell I'm losing this. Like, and I feel like that's basically what happened. Like, once I made it, I was like, poof, I got the first guy, this guy from Finland. I don't remember his name entirely, but I know he was a little, I was the 19-year-old. I think I had turned 20 at that time. I was the young one fighting against, he was 35 or 34 at that time. I'm not trying to talk crap or anything like that about anyone, but you know what that means. Like, you already know, like, once, and I saw him, I was like, oh, all right, this is going to be perfect. This is the warm up that I need to, like, boom, boom, boom. Cause that's how it works. You get momentum off the fights, right? You know it yourself. Like,
Yeah.
like, you get momentum out of the fight. So once I fought him, I was like, boom, next. And I happened to fight, Irish. I forget. He's a coach now, right? What's his name?
Paul King, yeah.
Yes. I remember fighting him, and to be honest, it wasn't really a memorable fight for I'm sure either one of us. I feel like it was just who had more gas in the tank, and I think at that moment I was good with, like, energy, and so I kept on going in with the psych kick. You know how it is in the final. It's not, you're not risking. He's not risking. You're just trying to score the point. So it was a boring fight, but dude, it was awesome. It was awesome. I got out of there. I was like, what the hell just happened? In a matter of, like, an hour and a half, like, life kind of, like, life changing, life altering, and it could have gone totally different way if I would have stayed back watching the clown, because my teammate, she got disqualified.
Ah,
She didn't. She waited, and she only competed in pattern. So she spent all that money. Her parents spent all the money, and nothing to show for it, unfortunately, besides just an experience now, like a lesson. Like, read your own schedule. Don't listen to Julio.
do you think that helped though, that the fact that you didn't have much time to think? It was kind of from, like, watching the street performer to
Yeah.
next thing you're in the ring. It's kind of like, it's not much time sitting around to think and build up the fight. It was just,
Hell yeah.
oh
It was just boom. Yeah, I'm just like, boom. I have no idea. Just kick their ass. Boom, boom, boom. Like, it was just the adrenaline, that rush. I'll never forget it. And afterwards, it's like, you don't know what just happened. You're like, wait, what? That was it? It kind of leaves you. It kind of left me feeling with that. Like, that was it?
yeah,
Because it happened so fast. It's so, like, unreal, surreal. I'll never forget it. I'm sure,
it's a crazy
how
story.
memorable was that? How memorable? Yeah, like, the first time you win, it's a good feeling, and or anytime you win, it's just a great feeling of accomplishment. It's just, there's nothing like it out there. Whether you win money or not, whether you're rich afterwards or not, it's something that no one's going to be able to take away from you. You're going to be 90 years old, still being able to say I was world champion, and so on. So, and now we live in the good times where we could just show video. We have proof. We'll be 90 and yo, check me out, man. Try and catch me.
Yeah, well, I say, like, if you could bottle up that feeling, like, where you see 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 on the clock. If you could bottle up those 5 seconds, and just, like, I don't know, if you could drink it or something, like, just that feeling is it's a drug. That those last 5 seconds, it's an unbelievable drug.
So yeah, you mean, like, are we talking when you're winning or when you're losing? Like, because it could go both ways. When you see, like, the longest 5 seconds and the worst 5 seconds of your life. But if you're winning in the final of the world championship, and you're seeing those 5 seconds count down, that is like, woo! In your head, you're like, hell yes. Even though you got to stay composed because you're in the ITF and whatnot, you have to follow protocol, stay humble. But deep down inside, you're like, yo, party everywhere.
Yeah, but it's
It's
like that.
it's it's awesome.
It's like that when you're having, because you all the time you're nearly having, like, like 100 different conversations in your head. So, like that, yeah, there's one conversation where it's like, woo, I'm winning, and then there's that other one where you're kind of like, oh, stay relaxed, stay focused, and there's
Stay
that.
relaxed. Yeah, you always hear that. Whether it's your coach or whoever the fuck it is, like your Jiminy Cricket, whoever that is, he's telling you, hey, don't forget, But I feel you get that through experience as well, because you don't just learn that because of, just because. No, you've experienced some hardships.
Yeah.
You've learned like the hard way. Like, shit, I can't be doing this no more. Every second counts. Every moment can like define the whole fight. Just one moment. It's funny. You have to, and we learn that. We learn that as we compete.
Like from New Zealand to kind of Benidorm, you kind of went from being maybe like going into New Zealand as some bit of an unknown guy or a young guy to being the man to beat in Benidorm.
Yeah, that was funny, man. That was crazy. I had no idea. I mean, that's another crazy story, because that was that moment in time, like in between, like those two years in between the New Zealand and Spain, like my life changed completely. And that's like, that's outside of the Taekwondo world. Obviously in the Taekwondo world, I was on top of the world, but outside of it, like it was tough. It was tough. Unfortunately, like I suffered like an accident. I went through a couple of months of like healing mentally. I mean, physically, the healing took a couple of months physically, but mentally it took like a year and a half to really get over the incident and what really happened to me, at that moment. So it was kind of strange from 2011, 2013. It was like, yeah, you're on top of the world, and then a second later you're like, oof, you're like, whole world is just flipped upside down. You're like, wait, what was, yeah, I'm a world champion, so what? But look at me now. Like what? Like it really just like it put a stop on everything for a while. And yeah, but going back to Spain, it was crazy. Like I didn't know it, but I didn't know it then, but I quickly found it out. Like when I was over there, I was like, wait, people are asking for pictures, people are asking for this, people are talking about Julio. Like what? Trust me, I had no idea. I was going through my own stuff, and yeah, it was crazy to hear that. And luckily Spain was an awesome tournament as well. Unfortunately, the outcome didn't go my way, but that's another story. That's a tough one.
Yeah, but it was
At that level, anyone
exciting
can win.
fight. It was a very exciting fight. I remember watching it, and it was over and back, and it was exciting to watch it.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you right now though, there was an issue. There was a little issue in that moment. I feel like I didn't get. Well, I guess we were both fighting in the same place, right? So it can't be like I didn't get. Like we both had the same luck there, but throughout the whole tournament in Spain, I'm not sure if you compete. Were you competing in junior then?
57 senior.
Senior? Senior? Oh shit. All right. So you know how it was, how those mats, dude. I had never I have never felt something better than those mats. Like for my feet, for my movement, for my style of fighting. I have never before then, and even after that, I have never felt better mats than what they had in Spain. Like around every other ring. Like the ring that I fought was beautiful, and I felt all the other surrounding rings were amazing. But when they decided to put our fight in the gala, I really just messed up because I didn't, and that's where experience comes in handy. Like I didn't touch those mats. The center ring was a little lifted. Was like those are always a little lifted up, and I guess I don't know why they decided to use different mats for that center ring. But basically, it was that I didn't touch the mats beforehand. They called me up. They called myself and Matt up, and literally right when I stepped a foot into that ring, I knew I was like, oh shit. I was like, my feet started slipping, and I was like, wait a minute. And I figured it out. Like in my head, it felt like a minute, but no, it was like a split second where you were just like, holy shit. Like this is gonna be a little complicated because you have a game plan in your head, and I was already. I don't know if you've seen the fights from then. I don't know what made me decide in doing that kind of movement. I feel like the floor and some other thing I might have talked with a good friend of mine like right before competing that day. That I feel like I was a different fighter that day. I was moving around, and my plan was to move, move, move until I saw an opening and go in. Like it was just that move, 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 wait till they fuck up and you go in. So that's what I was planning. And then I felt the mats and I was like, shit, I can't counter. I can't move the way I want to move. I have to be very linear now. So that really like affected that fight. I feel like if we would have fought on the, if we wouldn't have done the gala and we would have completed the fighting like right away, right afterwards, it would have been a different story, 100%, if not 1,000.
Do you think it played on your mind, like going into the match, into the final, like when once the referee said C-Jack, that it was still playing on your mind, the change in mats and stuff like
The
that?
mats, I feel like yeah, for sure, for sure. You slightly, and it's not even, I can't say that's fully what affected me. Maybe I psyched myself out. Maybe I made the fight harder than it really could have, than it should have been, just because of the mats. Yeah, you might be right. Maybe that's what like screwed me over in the end. Just the thought of like, uh-oh, rather than just quickly adjusting and saying, all right, what else what's the other part of, what's your other plan? Because you always got to have more than one plan. You got to, at that level, everyone has 3 or 4 plans at least. Not that they're always good, but you have.
Yeah. You have one, yeah. Yeah. Well, like, um, I want to touch on the next Worlds in 2015, but maybe not for too long. But I think it pulls around into, I think, a very good story a little bit after that. But obviously, the 2015 Worlds didn't go the best.
They weren't the best, dude. They were not the best. Yeah, it was terrible. That's another life lesson I had to learn the hard way. I mean, no one likes losing, and losing at that. You know, I technically didn't lose, but I lost, right? You could say I lost, right? Because he threw a crazy kick. It was amazing, and it knocked the fuck out, right? So it was crazy, life altering at that moment as well. Like the scar that I suffered in 2011, that accident was like nothing. Or at that moment, I felt, wait, 4 years later, it felt like, yo, this burn is nothing compared to what I really just felt right now. Like my ego was hurt, everything was hurt. Because again, I don't like to talk what's not the truth, but I felt like at that moment I was at my best and I had everything to win. Basically, like everything was working out perfect. I could still remember it to like as if it was yesterday. Normally we always have 2 different brackets because they're really large category, 90 people competing, win the tournament, right? So they split us up, and on the other bracket, I kind of I knew I was kind of not safe, but like I kind of knew that I was on the better half, like the safer side, the safer half, let's say.
Yeah.
But I also knew that the guy who just had beaten me the year beforehand, 2 years beforehand, was on the other side. That was comforting as well, and even more comforting when I found out that he had lost. Once I found out he lost, that kind of just opened up everything for me, and that kind of like changed my mentality. And I feel like that might have also thrown me off my game plan. Thrown me off my game plan, thinking like, oh shit, I got this now. Now for sure I got this. Like I just got to get past these 3 next fights and it's mine. Like I'm world champion again. But yeah, dude, it was a totally different outcome. And I'm sure I know you were there. I know you guys were there. You guys
Yeah.
all saw it. That was crazy, man.
Yeah.
Everyone saw it. My mom saw. My mother was there, man. Can you imagine that? Like your
But like,
mother just like watching that. My brother was filming it with a big iPad, and you just see that, boom. It's crazy, man. I still remember as if it was yesterday. Like I woke up 3 minutes later in the on the bed thing, thinking like, what the hell? What happened? Like it's a funny story. Like my brother kind of did now that I think of it, he kind of fucked up in telling me this. You're not really supposed to do this, right? But what he was trying to do was, because I woke up. I woke up like if I was like, dude, I woke up like from a sleep, from a nap. I was like, ah. I almost like extended my arms, and then I was like, wait a second. I was just fighting. So I woke up and I was like, wait, what happened? You know, my brother was next to me and he was like really sad. He's like, yo, the worst thing just happened. And I was like, what? I still remember. I still remember as if it was this. I was like, what happened? And he's like, I'm gonna show you. So he pulled out the iPad really quickly, showed me the video, showed me myself getting knocked out 3 minutes earlier and falling. And I was like, what? And then he's like, all right, hurry. And he kind of like basically helped me out because he knew that the doctor, before he can clear me to fight or anything like that, which at this moment, I don't think there was no way I was going to fight. But at that moment, the doctor, yeah, my brother was like, okay, like so and so, this happened, this happened, this happened. And then the doctor came immediately afterwards and asked me the day, the day, the time, da. Most of those answers, I did not have an answer most of those things. My head was not there. I was not there. I can tell you that right now. And yeah, I only answered them correctly because my brother was right behind me, like mouthing, not right behind him, mouthing the correct answers because I was not there. It was a hard kick.
Yeah, I mean,
And the fall that I had was even harder. You know, the tough one.
like I said, I think because
But
like
that was a tough thing to swallow. You know, tough.
yeah, but I think like because you had that kind of name, I think like that kind of it kind of it drew a big crowd. It's kind of like we were there, we had that position, we had a great position because we were there, like because like
Dude, it was awesome.
you,
Yeah, and
you and the guys, and then like you said, the other 63s were on the other ring, so we had a perfect view, and we were watching. And I, like you said, I remember still sitting there and watching you putting your gear on and being like, "Is he gonna try and fight?" It's like they're not letting him fight, are they? And then it was kind of like, "But wait, will they?"
exactly. Yeah, it was crazy. I bouncing around because I thought I was gonna fight. I was like, yeah, nothing happened. You know, I didn't at that moment. I didn't know I was out for 3 minutes. I didn't know I was out for that long. You know, it was a funny moment, and like, it's crazy how it all happened because the first round and my second round were. I'm not gonna. They were pretty good. They were like uh, it was nice. It was perfect for me. I feel like I scored I did what I had to do. I looked confident. I felt confident. I felt right at home. So like for that to like happen so quickly from coming off the first two rounds doing so well, you know, it was crazy. It was like whoa. And then the worst part about it, you know, you have to deal with the comments and what happened immediately afterwards. You know, you still have to show face in the tournament. So I showed face an hour after it happened, and I don't know if it's because you know I think everyone was watching. Maybe I'm just too like thinking, you know, self-centered. But that's what I felt. I was like, shit. Everyone's looking at me right now. Everyone's like, holy crap. Can I say something to him? Can I say I'm sorry? Or you know, it was a weird moment. It's funny how much how kind of messed up I am. Really, you know, like how an outcome like the outcome of a competition can affect your entire trip. Because I can completely tell you right now, my whole Italy trip was ruined. After that, like we went to Rome, we went here and there, dude. I had a frown everywhere I went. I was like, nah, like I'm, I don't know what it is, you know. Like it's a competitive side of us, you know. It wants to not lose. I get no one wants to lose, right?
Yeah,
No one
it was
likes losing.
it was a it was kind of a changing moment for me. I nearly feel like you get knocked. There's a story I have is like I was watching that and I saw you get knocked out, and then I was meant to fight then in the afternoon, and then it was kind of snap. I was like, Jesus, like fuck, like Julio's after getting knocked out. I was like, fuck, that's it. Jesus, am I ready?
Exactly, dude.
And then I didn't perform, and then it was like, so I started I was like, I was watching all these people who were so sharp, and I was like, it got in my head, and I was like, well, gee, am I sharp enough now? And then I didn't
Right,
perform.
right. It fucks with you, man. It it
After
it, it was
after that, I was thinking it, then I was like, no, I can't watch anybody now before I compete. And then that's why I kind of became very self-centered on fight day, so I don't watch anybody. So it was kind of like it was
at
all a learning
all, yeah.
experience. So
See, that's funny. That's I had no idea, but that's basically that happened to my teammates. I can like literally that. It was funny. It's a funny thing how it all worked out because I was the only one that was competing that day, and the rest of my team was competing the next day. So I kind of like it ended up being I had to kind of like talk people and mentor people out of like thinking negatively because it was that people were thinking like the juniors that were in our team. They were like, oh my god. Like I would see them and they were like crying, tearing, like, oh my god, if Julio got knocked out, like what's gonna happen to me? You know, like so it was kind of funny that I had to literally like talk people, like kind of like that's the last thing I want to do. Have to like explain to them, oh no, it's not gonna happen to you. It's it's not gonna happen to you. It just happened to me. Like
Yeah.
it's funny. That's how it worked out, and it fucks with you. Yeah, you watch that right before you're fighting. Like my brother saw that. That must be crazy. Like he probably had a harder seat than than everyone else, or I should say, I had the easier seat. Because I was out. I thought I was sleeping. I was in bed. Everyone else was watching me in the floor, just like dead body. That's scary. Seeing your brother like that, or son, or whatever.
Yeah, but like I
Tough.
said, it comes around, I think, to a positive story in that the World Cup came around in 2016, and then obviously you went on to win that and had some good matches there, like a great match with Timmy in the final. So it kind of
Great matches, man.
springboards to a good positive story, I think, in the end. Like it's a good comeback story.
100%, 100%. Yeah, that's like it was another life lesson. It was another eye-opening like moment where I was like, all right, Julio, look internally and see what you could have done better. And at that moment was I have to be more focused, be more in the moment, not thinking already like the gold or like the final. Like know that in any single moment your life can change. So that's basically what I did. It was hard. It was a hard thing to swallow, but once I did that, I kind of like bounced back. But it took a while. It took like 4 months. I went to the doctor. I went to get like checked out, obviously, because that movie Concussion, I think, was out at that time. Concussions were a big deal back around that time. So I was like, shit, am I gonna like still be able to fight? So I was really nervous on that. I didn't want to throw any punches. I didn't want anyone to hit me. It was hard. It was hard to get over that. But yeah, it was cool to bounce back and to win that. Like that was awesome. I'm telling you, it was a good feeling. Good feeling. Then 2017 comes around. It's a tough feeling as well. That's the it's like, why can't it just all be good, right? But sometimes it's better to lose. It's not better, but you get a better lesson out of losing than winning most of the time. You win, because when you win. It's like, all right, I win, I won. But if you lost, you can either like break down and just give up, or you decide and see like what could I have improved, or how could this have ended differently.
Yeah, because the Worlds in Ireland,
Yeah.
you had a lot of like you had some tough matches on the way to getting to the final. So like you had some really good wins. But then in the end, it was kind of like, maybe did it feel a bit like I suppose it probably sounds like a strong word, but did it feel like a bit like a failure because you hadn't won the gold medal, but then you kind of had some really good matches on the way to getting to the final?
I think so. I don't want to say, yeah, maybe not failure, but it was definitely like a down putting, like, because for sure, like it's kind of funny. Like my first rounds have been surprisingly tough. I didn't know at that moment who my first round opponent was. Luke, right? Luke.
Luke, yeah.
But yeah. Once I saw the bracket, we have like a week or so before the fight actually happens. To, like, look at your bracket, look up your opponent and whatnot. Like drive yourself crazy. But yeah, I didn't know who he was. And then I heard like I had people starting to like message me saying, "Oh, you're gonna fight Luke McGrath. This guy is freaking. They call him the Crane. Like his leg is like a third arm or something like that. I don't freaking know." So I started like freaking out. I was like, "Oh shit, who is this kid?" Like, and then I saw him. It was actually really funny. Like, it's funny how that happens when like it's like there's something you both feel probably at the same exact moment, but you both have to keep your calm. But when you see your opponent for the first time at the tournament, you're just like, oh shit, I know I'm fighting you, bro, and I know that you're fighting me. So it's kind of weird, like how that felt. But dude, I stood next to him and I was like, what the hell? I know exactly what I'm gonna do with you, man. I'm gonna run. I'm gonna move. I'm just gonna try and be as smart as I can, because this is unfair, man. This is unfair.
Yeah,
Like,
he's a
I struggle to make 138. Like, dude, you do not understand how hard I've struggled to make 138. And to see Luke, a 6'5" guy, like make 138 pounds and just like be relaxed, like that's what really psyched me out. Like, I saw him before weigh-ins And he was like, relax. Like, I'm like, what the hell, man? I'm so hungry right now. And I'm a foot shorter than you, and I can't make the same weight you're making comfortably. I don't know the story behind that, man. I don't know how that happens. That's another story. How do people like make weight so easily? Like,
I
what's
know.
up with that?
I
Shit.
find there's a struggle for 57. Well, not a struggle, but there's a process to it to get into 57 for me. And I think you be the same for 63 then.
Yeah, yeah, I already know. Yeah, I've learned the hard way how to like how my body works, how like kind of like to cheat the system. You know, like you watch videos and you find out like, oh, that UFC fighters lose up to 15 kilos a night. You know, like before fight night or weigh in. Like, so now you can implement that. You know, like just like straight up depleting water, like with sodium based or lack of sodium based diets. You know, so I improved in that sense where I know now a week or let's say 8 days before the weigh-in, I already have my set schedule, like what I have to eat, how much water I have to intake, you know, when I gotta stop eating. So it's become a lot easier. But the weigh-ins were always a hard thing, and me going to 57 would never ever happen. Dude, I don't know. People always ask me why would you ever fight in 57, and besides the fact that you guys are fucking really fast, surprisingly, and still just as strong, I would never be able to make that weight. So I'm good at 63, you know, where I
Yeah.
still struggle to make weight, but I don't die.
And what do you walk around at then? So how heavy usually?
71, probably 71 kilos,
Yeah.
probably. Maybe 70. I like to say now I've gotten a little better, you know, 69, 70 kilos, but still that's a good amount. Most people are saying like anytime I tell somebody I have to lose 15 pounds, you know, people are like, what, how, where, from where, like, why? You know, no one really understands it. You know, your
Yeah.
coworkers, all these people, they're like, why?
So then, like, do you would you diet down a bit then to a certain weight?
Yeah, they always try and like they always try and feed you things, and they always try and like give you like, and it's weird. It's like the worst luck. Like any day throughout the whole year, you know, your mom's never cooking, no one's ever bringing any food. You know, it's like a pretty dull, like, all right, I'm gonna eat chicken and like rice and like whatever, nothing crazy. But the moment that you know you have to make weight, and people know you have to make weight, they decide to bring cake, they decide to bring pudding, you know, like everything you've ever wanted, they just bring it. It's pretty fucked up. It's like, is this a test? Like, fuck.
I have to think of it as like if it's always kind of that, you know, it just you know, if there's the person you're out and the person who says, oh, I don't drink, and everybody gives them that look, you know, it just happens. It's kind of the same thing where people have cake and they're saying to you is like, and you're
Like,
like,
have some.
I can't, and you're like, no, I
Yeah.
can't. You're like, I feel you get nearly the same look of like, why can't you eat it?
Yeah, and they get angry.
Just
They don't
let
understand
it
it. They
go.
don't
Let it go.
understand it. Yeah, and they're like, just have a piece, just one little piece, just taste it. I'm like, no, get out of here.
And like,
It's funny.
at
Yeah.
the Worlds in 2017, then how did you find fighting somebody from Ireland
Dude,
in Ireland?
can you hear me, bro?
Yeah.
My bad. Can you repeat the question? It's terrible signal, and that's probably because of my fault.
At the Worlds in 2017, how did you find fighting somebody from Ireland in Ireland at like a home fighter?
Um, the first round was I didn't feel that pressure, you know, as much as I felt the final round, you know, the final fight. Sorry. Yeah, my first fight was against Luke McGrath, which is he's Irish. You know, I did feel like a large support, but it was nothing compared to like how it felt in the final. You know, fighting against Ryan. You know, you did feel that presence. It did and it kind of didn't. I try not to anything really affect me, but it's hard not to at that moment. Like, you know, everyone was there rooting for him. You know, anytime we would get close, like whether he scored or not, it would be like, yeah. You would just hear that. You know, like
Yeah.
it's tough. It's tough to handle sometimes. It's tough to like manage that, you know, and especially if you see like if like and it's maybe my thinking or the person fighting what their thought process is, but it could be like pretty like harmful, or it could really mess with you if you're scoring or you think you're scoring and then you see the scoreboard go for the other person, you know, like that's very like off-putting, you know, like that can mess up your game. So you all that stuff can affect you, and yeah, the crowd could also affect too. The crowd could I've seen it happen outside of Ireland, of course. I've seen it in so many countries in South America, especially. Like, you know, there's always crowd favorites. There's always, you know, the one, you know, that's supposed to make it to the end, you know, and the one that has the preference. But
Well,
yeah, it's
like,
hard.
uh, just going to Germany, you kind of have a habit of like getting tough first round matches, like you said, is like the fight that Timmy in the first round is a tough one. It's like you seem to fight sometimes your toughest fights are in the first round.
Dude, yeah. That was a crazy one. You know, like that's another one. I don't know how it happened. I don't know who did it. I don't know if it was a joke. To this day, I still don't know if that was a joke. Like, whoever put the brackets together, like, were they laughing while they were doing it? Like, oh, let's make this really exciting. Like, you know, because that was crazy. Throughout the whole like bracket, you see a lot of like new competitors. You see a lot of people that you don't really recognize, like names and whatnot. You don't see much of that. And towards the end of the bracket, you see our three names. You know, three top names: myself, Timothy Boss, and Matias Bustamante, the kid that got me in 2015. You know, so that was crazy. That was a crazy thing, like to really see. And the funny thing is, the night before, I still kind of remember, whether it was the night before or 3 days before, I kind of thought to myself, wouldn't it be funny, like if somehow the three of us are like in the same end, you know, the bracket. And that's crazy how it was literally that. Like, that's why I found it so strange. I was like, who is listening? Like, what the hell? What kind of game are you playing at? Like, because I was just thinking this, and it's exactly that.
Well,
Timothy had to fight Matias in the first round, and then yeah, like then I had whoever the winner. I had the winner. That was a crazy one. I still don't understand how that happened. But yeah, that was hard, man. It was hard most mostly because it happened so quickly, and it was like so early in the morning. I think we fought like at 8:30 or 9 or something like that. Dude, it was too early. So I was like, I was out of it. I'm I still to this day like kind of struggle with the warming up and getting in the zone. I don't know whether it's because it's the way I feel more comfortable, or whether because naturally I'm just lazy and, you know, put things off until the end, literally the end. But that's what I tend to do. Just like, you know, when everyone's already dressed, everyone's already warming up, I'm still like in my clothes. You know, I'm still like walking around. So that's kind of how I felt going into the first round. It was, and I also misread the bracket in a weird way, because I assumed that Timothy and Matias were the last fight in the bracket. So I thought they would have to go through 20, like let's say 12 fights to get to their fight, and then another 6 or 7 fights to get to my second round, let's say, right? So I assumed that I had all the time in the world, but I misread the bracket terribly, and they went first. They were the first fight up. So then immediately after the bracket ended, I was up against Timothy. So it was crazy. I warmed up for like a minute and a half maybe with Willie, and yeah, it was like a rushed ass warm up. I was mostly just trying to put on my headphones the whole time, just like throwing kicks, trying to hold on to my AirPods, just like spinning and like, yeah. So I went in there cold. I went in there like, holy shit, this is really happening. Like, you know how it is, like when you're not like 1,000% there, you're not really, you're looking at the ring, you're looking at the other fighter, but you're like, oh god, like, you know, well, it's really happening. Like, it was good. And he says siege up. You're like, oh shit, you know. But I learned, you know, a while back that, you know, right before he said the referee says siege up, I have this little moment where I just kind of think to myself, I'm like, all right, showtime, like, or either showtime or like I just like close my eyes for 1 second, take a deep breath, and that feeling of just like relaxation is like what really drives me after that, you know. Like, it's not, all right, am I warm enough? No, it's just go do what you have to do. And that's how it happened. Like with Timothy, it was like that, you know. I moved around, I knew exactly how to do it, you know. I fought him many times, and he's good, he's really good, but for some reason, like, I kind of know what to do to keep him away, or to keep him at distance, or to like score on him, you know. Like, it's all about scoring, you know. So it's funny how that works sometimes, you know. Some people have, you know, some people have trouble fighting people that you wouldn't expect for them to have trouble with, just because of the way that their style works with the other person, you know. But fighting Timothy, yeah, it was tough in the first round. Fighting him my first round, which was his second round, you know, he was warm also, which was crazy. And I didn't know that then, you know, but he had a crazy first round as well with Matthias. Like, I think they tied, and they made it to the, you know, to extra round, which was crazy. So he must have had some adrenaline in him to win that. And I've only seen the video, so, and you can't see the score, but it seemed like he was down also. Like, he was supposed to lose, and then somehow at the last second he turned it around and he won, which was like, holy crap, that feeling of like winning really like gets you up there. So that was a tough one. I'm gonna tell you right now, out of all the times I fought against Timothy, that was the toughest one. And I could say I was kind of like I was just more glad that it was over. Like, all right, I'm done with this, you know, done with this. I'm sorry this happened, but I got to keep on going. And I kind of knew after that, you know, I was gonna like go ahead. But even then, my second round, I fought against this Norwegian kid that I didn't know then. I mean, I trained with him. He came to New York the other day, and and he's actually good. He's actually pretty good. Like, so my second round wasn't easy either. I almost lost that one. If I really would have like not been, you know, smart enough, you know, because I've learned to do that. Like, I've learned to be less physical, like more like selective in what I do, you know. So I chose to be very selective with him. You know, I knew what I had to do, what I couldn't do, because if I would have easily came in or done what most people were doing against him, or do against him, he probably would have won, you know, because everyone has their own style and it works depending on how you do, you know. So yeah, that was a tough fight too. And then I don't know who my third round was. I think it was England, if I'm not mistaken. Ruben Williams, he's good too. He was
Yeah.
great also. Also another tough fight. Yeah, it was tough all the way through. Tough all the
How,
way through.
how did you find having the semi-final and final on a separate day?
I thought that was cool. I think that was kind of cool. Again, same thing. It's still too early though. It was like 8:30. Like, I could see my pictures, and it looks like I had like a terrible night before. Like, I look super tired. Like, you know, it was just too early. I had just woken up. But that was a crazy day also. Like, I remember just walking. Germany was awesome. All in all, Germany was awesome. You know, you know how that town was. It was beautiful. It was like, what the hell? This is real life. So like walking over there, it's like I wasn't yeah, we had the semis the next day, so I had all the morning. I woke up early, and I had this the most calming walk I've ever had. You know, and it's like a 30-minute walk to the arena from where we were staying, but it was so cool, man, so relaxing, listening to music, and it was like I was in my zone. It was, I kind of knew that day, you know, I knew I was gonna like come out on top. Yeah, I knew my opponents, I knew the semi, I knew the potential final fights, you know. I had a good feeling. But that walk was awesome. I still remember it, man. It was cool.
Yeah, I look back and I've spoken to a couple of people, and I kind of liked it as well, because I thought my quarterfinal like was second last fight of the day on my ring, so it finished in the evening. and it was pretty much, get changed, get on the bus, get something to eat, go to bed, get up and fight. So it was, it was nice to have that
Nothing
rest.
to, right. A little
And
break, similar to like how the WAKO, right? They do in WAKO. That's cool.
I had a tough quarterfinal, and I was going into a tough semi-final then because I was fighting Vitali.
Right,
And
right, right.
nice to have, I felt, to have that break. But if I think for some of the juniors who maybe fought 2 days before, I think it might have been a bit of a challenge then to wait around for 2 days before you fight your semi-final.
Oh, true. Right, they had to wait. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was a big. That was strange that they did it that way. That was strange. Yeah, and it could affect you. I know for a fact it affects me for sure.
Yeah.
Either like the day after or a few hours later. They put you for the gala, the fight night thing. You have to wait like 5 hours. I definitely hate that. Like that's something I hate. Like I do not want to do that. If they ever ask me to do that, I'm gonna say no. Just let me fight and let me just hopefully win. Just on the side. I don't need you guys. I don't need to make a big show. Let me do what I need to do. Because it's stressful, and it like makes you feel things that you shouldn't be feeling. Like you haven't. If you were to fight right away, it would be like you had no time to think. Too much time between it. It can mess with you.
So then, like, when did you first start to kind of venture or dabble in a bit of kickboxing then?
I would like to say maybe like we're talking kickboxing WAKO or kickboxing ring. Like, because the WAKO I started in 2016. I went to the Pan Americans. I had never competed ever, in WAKO, so it was like a new experience. It was pretty cool. I was fighting 69 kilos then, and I struggled to make that weight, which was hilarious. It was really funny. My brother was, yeah, yeah, dude. I was like sweating, and people were like, "How much are you weighing?" And I was like, 70 kilo. They're like, "What?" They couldn't believe it. It's funny how I'm an idiot like that. I just go all the way up. I don't know how to just like control myself after a diet. Like I tend to just overeat. But yeah, so the WAKO in the Pan Ams, that's when I first touched, like touched a little bit of the WAKO area, and it was pretty good. I tried point fighting. I won the first round, and then the second round, I fought another giant, man. Like I have bad luck with like tall people. This guy throughout the whole fight, throughout the whole tournament, in the beginning, you're watching the division, and in WAKO, it's not like the ITF. So, and you don't know anyone. So all these people are just a bunch of names in the bracket. So I was trying to put a face to the name, and I knew who I was fighting up against. And it was funny how it worked. Like there was this one guy out of all the guys that that I was watching fight, and I was like, let me fight everyone except for this guy. Let this guy not be like. I was like, no, this guy can't be 69. This guy is like 6'5", man. Like how's he? Like, and he looks heavy and he's strong. Like how's he making that weight? But yeah, and it ended up turning out like I had to fight him. So it was crazy. It was crazy. It was a tough fight, and I lost I lost in sudden death also with 1 point. It wasn't a bad loss, but I did well in light contact for sure. I did much better in light contact.
Would you look at going to a WACO World Championships?
Yeah, yeah. The WAKO worlds are definitely something I want to continue doing. Like I felt that the WAKO worlds was weird. Did you go to the one in Budapest?
No.
No, right? I know a couple of the Irish boys are there because they're in their own side of the WAKO, right? But that was a crazy experience for me, man. That was that was tough because at that in that moment I was actually fighting, or I'm still part of. I was actually fighting for Colombia. I'm not. I don't in WAKO. I don't fight for the U.S. I don't know who's in charge of it. Maybe that's because of lack of like looking, because I haven't really looked, right? But yeah, like people from Colombia offered me an opportunity, because my background, my mother is Colombian. I'm able to fight for that country, I guess. That's what they told me. But they told me, yeah, you want to fight for them, so you want to fight for Colombia. I was like, yeah, sure, why not? So normally when you go to a world championship, you go with a whole team, you go with a delegation, you go with a president, blah blah blah. You go with the whole crew, right? I didn't know that at the moment, but actually I was the only person from Colombia like registered to go to the worlds. And not only that, a week later after I found that out, I also found out that I was going to be the only person in the entire delegation. There was going to be no president, no nothing. So it was crazy to have to be able. I kind of had to deal with both sides of the thing, as a competitor, as a no, I don't know if it was no, I don't know, like a representative. Like, so I had to pay these dues that I had no idea. Like, yeah, you have money, you have $2,000 that we have to pay here that you guys owe from previous tournaments. I'm like, well, what the hell? I'm like, hold on, let me make one phone call. Like, I called, yeah, I called the president of the Colombian organization. He's like, oh yeah, don't worry, let me talk to this guy, and then whatever, he talked to them. But it was crazy that I had to, I had to make weight, and then I think it was 63 kilos also, so that was, I wasn't full. I was starving. I was hungry. I was super hungry. So to be able, they didn't allow me to to weigh in, even though I was good on my weight and I was allowed to weigh in, and people were weighing in. They didn't allow you to weigh in until you registered and fixed the issues with the money we owed and stuff. So I was fucking pissed. So that was a crazy experience, like having no support, no family or team rather, back me up. But I could say one good thing is it kind of shows you how like friendship and maybe the ITF is, kind of different from other sports, because literally I felt like I had like 15 teammates and they were all just like from other countries and they were just all ITF people, but they were mad. They were super cool with me. They were like, yes, you go here. Yes, you do this. Because I didn't know you. I didn't know anything, man. I just decided, I'm freaking turning 26 or whatever. I'm going to go to a WAKO Worlds. I'm going to try. So I went without knowing, I didn't know you needed elbow pads. I didn't know yeah, I was a mess. I still remember fighting in the light contact thing where I was like, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know the rules. I didn't know any of the rules. I didn't know that every time you went out, it was a literal like point deduction. And if you went out again, it's not another point, it's 2 points instead of one out. Like I still honestly don't understand them till now. Like I don't know. It's funny. But that was tough. I can tell you that was probably my toughest competition, having no one, and being outside of my comfort zone. But it was cool. It was an experience, all in all. I would like to go back for sure.
Who coached you?
My boys, my friends from Argentina, Ariel Alemano and Axel Vargas. He coached me in the first round. Well, actually, no, they coached me in the second fight against the Russian kid. The first fight was with actually Tomas Barada coached me, thankfully, and Ariel. They both combined, and it was kind of cool to have him on my corner. I was like, yo, awesome, untouchable. I feel, like, you're freaking the guy you used to look up to when you were, and you still look up to him, but when you were a kid growing up, you would look up to this guy, and now he's like coaching you, not because he has to, just because he literally wants to. That was kind of cool. That was a cool feeling, but he wasn't there for the second fight, though. I'll tell you that. Maybe it would have been different.
Maybe that was the problem. Yeah.
Yeah, fuck, man. What the fuck, Tomas? Master, sorry.
But I've seen just some like clips of the training, and you seem to do like a lot of freaky stuff, like there's stuff with like trampolines and stuff. Is that all your coach's stuff, or like you just kind of do what he says basically, or is there any kind of planning and programming of your own training?
Bro, it's cutting up about that. Can you hear me? It was cutting up just a bit. I couldn't hear that last part. I didn't hear the question. Sorry about that.
So I see you doing clips of training and doing a lot of maybe some freaky stuff with trampolines and bits and pieces. Is that all? Is your coach the mastermind of all that stuff, or do you have any input yourself, like any programming yourself?
I mean, my coach definitely is like he's the mastermind. He has the tools. He's definitely the one with the bungee thingy. He has like these ropes that you tie yourself up with. Like he definitely has the idea behind it. But I feel like we both complement each other so well. I'm able to do things that most people aren't able to do. So where it allows his mind to kind of like go free. Like, yo, try. How about what if we try this? What if we try to catch and spin while we kick? Most people have trouble with it. I kind of like have good timing naturally, so I'm able to like kind of do that. So I feel like we both complement each other very well. Like, but he's definitely like super like he's crazy. He's gifted in that sense to be able to like create a workout. Just being like he can look at two things and like, all right, I know exactly what to do. Give me some tape, give me some blah blah blah, and he like puts something together. It's pretty funny. It's cool.
Um, kind of just before we finish up, I've been asking, the kind of last two questions I've been asking recently have been, one is, who would you say is your favorite fighter of all time? Not necessarily Taekwondo. It could be MMA. It could be boxing. It could be even Taekwondo. But who would you say is your favorite fighter all time?
All time. Oh, well, Taekwondo. I guess it would have to be either. Well, that's just is my personal, personal. I would say David Kerr is somebody I used to look up to really highly, and I still do. And Maxime Bujold. I don't know if yeah, Maxime. We're Canadian, right? Of course. Um, Amazing. That guy is somebody I looked up to for sure, and I feel like he's top. He's up there because he was able to do both sparring and patterns. Like it was crazy, like unreal. Anyway, but outside of the Taekwondo world, best fighter, best fighter. I think right now would be Lomachenko. It's like that's kind of like a cheesy answer, and I feel like right now it's just like the only person I can think about. But Lomachenko is just at another level, and it's something I like look up to. I'm just like, holy crap, how the hell, how are you able to do this? And I want to learn whatever it is that you're doing. Like it's unreal what he does, and the kind of like the fighter that he actually is. It's just another level.
Maybe not too surprising because I suppose you're both kind of known for movement and footwork and being evasive.
Right, exactly. It's like, holy shit, I thought I was good. Look at this guy. This guy's creating crazy angles. So like, what? No, I need to learn this. And of course, it's not easy. It's not as easy as it looks. Like you try it and you're like, what the hell? I look dumb trying this. Does not work.
Uh,
It's
he,
funny.
he's meant to have picked up a lot of his good footwork from dancing. Are you as good a dancer, do you think?
Mm, I wouldn't. I wouldn't say that's the reason why I'm good at like taekwondo or my footwork. It wasn't because I was a dancer, dude. I just recently learned how to dance, and I'm not like a super dancer. I can just defend myself, but no, yeah, definitely not a dancer. Not don't got those dancer hips or whatever. Nah, it's tough. I'm stiff.
But it's been a pleasure having a chat, man. I think we'll wrap it up there. We've been talking for quite a while.
Dude, I don't know. Yeah, what's it been like 3 days? I feel yeah. I have no idea how it's been, but it's been great, man. I feel like it's been awesome. Just chatting. I feel like this is what we need. Taekwondo needs this. Why not? Right? We should
It's
definitely do this more often. With other people. That'd be cool.
yeah, so like I said, thanks a million for coming on, and hopefully you stay safe and that we'll be back training, and maybe we'll get a World Cup in this year.
Yeah, bro. If not this year, early next year. Whoever's listening out there, ITF, get it done. All
Go on, take care,
right,
man.
bro. All right, bro. Later, man. Take care.